when we realized the possible damage and impact of the COVID crisis on the countries of the former Soviet Union region which we're working with, we decided to act strategically and to put our resources and time into monitoring and enabling the kind of effective and efficient monitoring of the human rights violations possible, or of some actions of the government, their kind of response on COVID situation in their countries. And because we are a partnership organization, the main idea in mind was to empower our partners on the ground, local NGOs and civil society, different organizations and human rights defenders, to make sure their work is simplified, because they carry a lot of burden in handling the effects of the COVID at the same time as monitoring the actions of the governments sometimes and most of the time. So we wanted to bring them guidance and kind of a framework for them to work in and coordinate our actions. The grand goal was to make sure that the human rights in these countries, they are protected, and that if there are violations, they can be vocalized and that they can be properly documented to use this information in the future. And for our organization in particular, one of the greatest threats and the risks related to the COVID-19 pandemic was that the governments will use, as you also mentioned, will use this situation, crisis, environment, and pandemic to restrict the fundamental rights of people in their countries, and that they will retain these restrictions after there is no more risk, or not such a huge risk to life and health of the individuals. When government uses this epidemic to further attack civil society, to further attack their freedom of, not just freedom of speech, the access to information, but also some persons, the particular activists or organizations who are working, who are criticizing the government, basically, and saying that, okay, maybe here and there government didn't do enough to mitigate the COVID situation and the crisis. And we observe the shrink in civil society space currently, and it's very disappointing.